Hi, so today I'm going to introduce you to sales pipeline management, or sometimes referred to as sales funnel, and we're going to use a sales funnel here today because I think it's a really nice representation of actually the act of sales pipeline management. It's almost like you are funneling opportunities. So, I always start with this, well, why should this interest you? Why is sales pipeline management and having sort of your sort of arms and hands all over this really important for you as a business owner? I mean, there's a number of reasons. I mean, really, it starts off with, it gives you confidence that you've got the right amount of opportunities in your sales activities, right? And that's really important for your confidence, your cash flow, etc., etc. And in a future video, we'll talk about each step in terms of how it looks and how you might be able to use the data within it to help prioritize and focus. But this one is really the introduction to the pipeline, and the action I'm going to ask from you at the end of this is that you just put your prospects that are in your sales funnel in each of these categories, and I think from there that might be quite an insight for you to see where you actually have a number of your prospects. So what I thought, let me find a pen. What I thought we would do is just run through what the pipeline is. So let's start with that, or the funnel. Let's get the terminology right. I use a 7-stage sales process, and I break my sales funnel down into those 7 phases. Now, you might choose to not have 7. You might choose to sort of join a few of them together because that suits your sort of industry, your market, and your profession better. But I like, from a traditional B2B perspective, to have 7, and I like to sort of break this down into sort of an acronym. And actually we call this sales funnel SPANCOP. So let's have a go at just breaking down what each of those means. So in the first, the S, this is your suspects. So this is your total population, your total universe of opportunities that are in your area, in your field, in your ideal prospect list, let's say your databases. This is everybody that you feel at some point might value from your products, your service, or need your products or services. So you're keeping them on your database. So that's the first step, that you actually have your universe defined. The second step in the sales funnel is P, and that, let's make that a bit clearer, that equals prospects. Now, this is a big difference between a suspect, right? And you've often heard me talk about the difference between a suspect and a prospect is 3 things. The first thing is they want or need your product, so they've actually declared that. The second thing is they have a budget. So they have the budget available to be able to allocate to your products or your service, and they have the authority to spend the money. And I think once you've got those 3 things, you have a genuine prospect in your sales funnel. But this is where you have, so you've really qualified the opportunity, and you're really establishing your go-get prospect list. The next one, following this down, is A, and this is where we talk about analyze and approach. Okay, analyze and approach, so you can just about see that on the board still, but let's think of the analyze and approach. So this is about determining the needs of the prospect and establishing that interest is really genuine. And what you tend to do here is hover quite a long time in the sales process, because this is where you're doing all your qualification. This is where you're doing all of your questioning and ensuring that you are matching your offer to the needs of your prospect. Really important part in my sales process, and I imagine it's equally as important in yours. Yeah, and really what you're starting to see is the shape of the funnel. You know, you go from loads and loads of suspects to less prospects, then you're into your analyze and approach phase, and you see people are falling out of your sales funnel because you're just qualifying them even better. But then what you're starting to do is then narrow down your sales pipeline, and from about this analyze phase, I probably don't expect too many to start falling out post this next phase, which is the negotiate. The N stands for negotiate. So you've done your qualification in your analyze and approach phase, and only now do you actually start bringing in the negotiation. Now that's not just price, right? That's all the other elements of your offer that really matter to the client. You've established that, right, as you've gone through your questioning, and now you're into the negotiation. So this is, if I do this, will you do that? If I commit to do this, do you commit to do that? So now you're into your real sort of negotiation, just as you're sort of moving into agreeing the terms, agreeing the needs, and agreeing that there's a commitment here to purchase. So big stage, and now really you're in the home straight, right? Because you've done all of your sort of analysing, all of your negotiating, and now we move into the phase which is close. And you know what I find a lot of smaller businesses do is they jump quite quickly through this funnel. Now sometimes the funnel doesn't go in this very sort of linear, slow way. It can be quite dynamic, but you'll find if you reflect on it, it still follows this kind of process. So here we're in the close phase, and here is we're really talking about, you know, what is the contractual commitment, you know, what is the duration, what are the terms, you know, all of that nitty gritty stuff, and then this is where you sort of put out your hand and you say, do we have a deal? So here we go into the next one. Of course, really important is that they actually place an order. You know, sometimes a lot of work goes on up here. We close the deal, the order doesn't come, but this is about receiving the order and ensuring that you take it to that next step. So the last step in my sales funnel is a P again, and it's payment. And again, this is what I said. Sometimes this is not as relevant in some markets. I mean, obviously getting your money in is, but it's whether it actually forms part of your sales process or whether this is just a bit more automated, right? O and P, or even close O, the C of the O and the P can be aggregated together. So this is one method, but one that I really have subscribed to over the years and works well. So that is an introduction of what the sales pipeline is. I call it SPANCOP: suspect, prospect, analyze, negotiate, close, order, and payment. The action, as I said, for you is now to go away and with the prospect, well, let's start with the suspects, of course, with the number of suspects and the prospects, just start mapping out with your opportunities where they sit in the sales funnel, and you'll get an idea of the numbers that you have. And in the next session, we'll talk a little bit about the numbers and, you know, what that might mean. Okay, catch you soon.